Hey, hi everyone. Hey folks. I guess I can just... Well, first off, I'm super honored to be here talking to you. And yeah, it's honestly my first time talking to a big audience this big, I guess. So yeah, now that I got that out of the way, I want to touch on a topic that I've been sharing with a large audience for some time now. So it's actually a very cliche topic. I'm gonna be talking about happiness, right? So I'm sure everyone wants to be happy in life. We're all looking for ways to be happy. We all have different definitions of happiness. Some equate happiness to money. Other people equate happiness to having good relationships. And some other people think happiness is just pursuing what you find meaningful. So we all have different terms or synonyms for happiness. Well, today I'd like to take some time to talk about my definition of happiness, or at least the thing that helps me be happy in life, and see if you can relate to that story. So if you're interested, yeah, keep listening. Now, so my way of looking at happiness is it's not those things I mentioned above. It's not really money or the personal relationships. It's hard to imagine a person happy unless they are healthy, physically and strong. Yeah. And that's something I learned through trial and error. Like in my past year, I just like you guys, I wanted to be happy, but I didn't really realize what happiness was. So I looked at different things. Like I tried making a lot of money. I tried building good connections with people, but none of these things really brought me joy, right? And so what I want to do to explain why physical fitness is essential is one of the prerequisites to happiness. I want to give you my backstory, the reason why I'm talking about this today. So the backstory, where did it all start? Like, how did I get into fitness? Like, why am I so obsessed with fitness, and why am I trying to send a message today that you have to be physically fit and strong if you're to become happy in life, right? So, and to do that, I want to show you this old photo of me with my friends, and give you some time to spot me in this picture and see if you can find me. Yeah. So a lot of you are probably thinking that number 6 is me, right? Because when I usually show this photo to my, to strangers or people who have never known me in the past, they instinctively go with the number 6 and they think that that's me. Well, to your shock, to your surprise, I'm actually number 8, right over there. That, shabby looking and bulby guy is me. Well, there's actually nothing wrong with, being bulby and a little overweight, but I didn't realize that at the time, the fact that I was not physically fit was putting me in a mentally and physically and emotionally compromised position, right? And because I was overweight and because I was unfit, I had a hard time, fitting in, and I felt most of the time insecure about my physical shape, and I was most of the time unsociable because I didn't like being around people. Every time I was in some kind of a party, people would bring up my weight, like, wait, hey, do you put on some weight? Look at that fatty, look who just rolled in. Yeah, I kept getting all those comments and people would call me names, so that clearly hurt my self-esteem as well. And because of that, I had low ambitions. I thought I was not going to amount to much in life. Yeah, and I felt pretty miserable at that point. And to top it all off, right, I was frustrated all the time. I had my fears about not succeeding in life, and I had low energy at work. I didn't feel like getting anything done. And worst of all, right, I was not happy about looking myself in the mirror. So life was pretty dark, as you can imagine, just because I was not physically fit. And I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who can relate to this story, who can relate to that experience, right? So what changed, right? What changed is I got into fitness. And over time, I was able to cut some weight. I got fit. Now, not only was I able to, deadlift 100 kilos, for reps, but I went on to get a presidential award, like it's one of the prestigious awards. And not in my wildest dreams, I imagined one day I'd be getting a medal from, the president, right? So on all of these things, a lot of it I attribute to the fact that I got into personal fitness. I'm actually a teacher by, trade, but I don't think teaching is what made me as successful as I am now. A lot of it comes down to the fact that I started taking care of my body. I started taking care of my, health. And you might be thinking, well, did exercise really do all that? Does being physically fit mean hitting the gym 3 times a week, right? Lifting heavy? Because that's what most people think when they hear the term physically fit. They think of someone jacked, super jacked, with lots of muscle on their body, right? But it's a little more complicated than that. There are other moving parts in this equation of physical fitness I'd like to share with you, right? So, there are 3 key pillars to physical fitness, and that's diet, and a little bit of exercise, and your sleep. So, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the one in the middle. That's the physical exercise part. But the other components that often get neglected, that often get overlooked, is sleep and diet, which I'll be talking about that as well. So, starting off with diet. So when people think of diet, what they usually think of cutting on food, they think of cutting on sugar, they usually think of going on low-calorie diet, or that they think of having to, experiment with different types of diets, right? There are all sorts of diets: ketogenic diet, carnivore diet, right? And there is so much education out there, and it feels like we're all, drowning in this mess of information about diet and fitness and all that. Yeah, but it's not that complicated, and you don't really have to eat little, to have proper diet. You don't have to give up on your favorite chocolate chip cookie, and you don't have to worry about not ever eating your mama's pasta, right? You can still have all those things as long as you understand this basic principle, basic concept, and that is what dietitians call calories in, calories out. So it's basically the number of calories you consume on a daily basis compared against the number of calories you expend, you use, right? And to measure that, you would need something like a calorie calculator, right? This is something you can look up on the internet, and it's accessible to everyone. So all you gotta do, also get yourself a little scale, a kitchen scale, and start measuring your calories. You can look up calorie count of pretty much any food item online. So be it eggs, be it pasta, be it bread, be it water. But I guess everyone knows water has 0 calories, so that one is not necessary. Yeah. So once you figured that out, where do you go from there? Once you know how many calories you're having a day and how many calories you're expending, you can actually work out how many calories you use daily simply looking it up online. Like you can look up how many calories I burn when I do 30 minutes of intense cardio, or how many calories I burn teaching. I actually looked into that, and turns out I burn twice as many calories teaching 4 hours a day than I do working out for 2 hours straight at the gym, which is mind-blowing, if you ask me. And depending on what your goals are, what you're gonna do next is you're gonna either go on what's called caloric deficit or caloric surplus. So if your fitness goal is to cut weight and get lean, then obviously your option would be caloric deficit, which is consuming fewer calories than you burn. And it doesn't matter what food you eat. You can have chocolate the entire day, as long as you go to the gym or just get some exercise done to get that calorie out. You're good. You're good. It's that simple. But if you're someone who wants to put on some mass, body weight, because you want to look stronger, fitter, then you would want to go on something called caloric surplus, which is, eating extra food, more food than you're burning. Yeah, it's that simple. So what that means is diet is not really rocket science, unlike what most people think. But I have to put out a disclaimer here. I'm no dietitian. I'm not trained on this field. But over years of research and learning about diet, what I've realized is diet boils down to this simple concept. So you don't have to get a dietitian to teach you, to walk you through the process of dieting. It's something you can literally figure out yourself, as long as you understand this simple concept. Well, once you get your diet sorted, the next important thing you gotta keep in mind is exercise. Yeah, which is the core, which is the basis of physical fitness. Like, it's hard to imagine someone fit, someone who doesn't work out, or someone who doesn't get any, exercise done, looking fit or in strong shape. Now, when thinking of exercise, what a lot of people think is usually going to the gym. They think, well, I have to hit the gym 3 times a week if I want to get strong, or I have to do cardio every day. Am I going to have to get a personal trainer? How am I going to figure that all out? So you all have all these, questions about what constitutes exercise and what's proper exercise. And the answer, again, is a lot simpler than you think. It's not that complicated. All you get to do is just to get moving. You just have to get moving. It's that simple. I'm actually getting a lot of exercise just prancing about on the stage right now. Oh yeah, I'm getting a lot of exercise done just walking around here. I'm getting a lot of exercise talking. I'm actually getting a lot of exercise just engaging with the audience here, because your body has to burn some calories, energy, to keep moving, to keep going, right? But there's actually an interesting fact about exercise. You're actually getting some exercise just sleeping. You do burn some calories when you sleep, because your body has to synthesize and process that food, right? But that does not mean that should not be a reason to stay home in your bed all day thinking you're getting exercise. No, not exactly. So exercise can come in many different forms. You can really just do home workout like most people do. I used to do a home workout before I started hitting the gym. And the only reason why I started hitting the gym is because I needed some company to stay motivated throughout the journey, right? Because sometimes, we simply don't have an incentive to keep doing the same thing every day, or discipline, right? To be consistent. And that's where the gym environment comes in. But if you're budget conscious, right, trying to cut corners, then still there's good news. You don't have to really get a personal trainer or go to the gym 3 times a week. This is something you can literally do in your bedroom, something you can do in nature. Yeah, there's not much complication about exercise. All you have to do is to just get moving. Something as simple as a 10-minute walk after work or your studies can go a long way. Now, once you got that figured, there's something else you gotta have fixed, is your sleep. It is so underrated these days. So there's actually a lot of science about the importance of sleep. Now, what the processes, the hormonal changes that take place when we sleep, right? And there's so much literature and research on why sleep is so essential. And despite that, we still seem to be so dismissive of our sleep, not realizing it is the elixir that recharges our body. It's the elixir that recharges our mind. So, and especially in today's modern world, sleep seems to be a big issue because of our phones. Like, we stay up late, scrolling on social media and chatting with people online or whatnot, or sometimes just mindlessly scrolling on the internet, right? So, not realizing that we're literally compromising our physical, fitness and health because we're foregoing something that makes up the foundation of rest and recovery, and that's sleep. And then that brings me to your next. You might be thinking, well, how do you then fix your sleep? How do I ever go straight home and just crush on my bed? Is that something tangible? Well, I've heard a lot of people say that I have to get myself the proper bed. I have to invest in proper cushioning. I have to make sure the room temperature is right. I have to do all these things, right, to go to bed, to go to sleep. When in reality, again, sleep is a lot. There's not much science behind sleep. If you think about it, all you got to do is get off your phone. Yeah, you have to have a strict rule of not getting on your phone 30, 40 minutes before you go to bed. It's that simple. So as you can see, it's all of these answers I have to physical fitness are clear-cut and very simple. And I feel like there's so much information out there, and people, you know, much like I was, are drowning in that information and have so many questions about how to get fit, when in reality, all you have to do is do these 3 things, which come with quick and simple solutions, right? One of which is count your calories, 2 is get moving, and 3 is just get off your phone when you're in bed. And it's that simple. Yeah, and it doesn't really take a genius to figure that all out. But I had to learn all this through trial and error, right? I made those mistakes, so you don't have to make those mistakes, right? And moving on, I got, yeah, what are the results? You might be thinking. Results, number 1, I started feeling good, just good. It just, because you're giving your body what it needs, what it's evolutionarily supposed to do, stay strong and fit and, you know, healthy, and get proper sleep and get moving throughout the day and eat proper food, you just naturally start feeling better, right? And as a result of feeling good, I felt more confident. I had no trouble being in social settings and talking to people, right? I started just doing a lot better at work. And most importantly, I felt so fired up. It was as though I was reborn. I felt rejuvenated going to work, rejuvenated starting my day. I felt fired up about whatever project I took on. And as you can, you know, see, the results are not disappointing. The results are pretty good. So, and my message here today is, if you want to become ultimately happy, you have to start with this fundamental concept, which is your physical fitness, right? It's not really your personal relationship. It's not really the chase of the money, or it's not really having the, you know, being in the right environment. It's just your basic biology, your basic anatomy that needs to be taken care of. Unless you take care of yourself, your body, your health, you're not going to be able to give the world much. So that's really my message today. And now it's your turn to implement these tips and strategies and, you know, message you got from me today. And I hope you enjoyed today's talk. And if you want to find out more about me, please drop me a follow on social media. Thanks a lot.